Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for having me. Now, is this your first class of this semester?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Number one. You are it, brother.
All right. Well, all downhill from here, I hope.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for having me today. My name is Graham. I'm the front office manager at the Big Cypress Lodge, which is located inside the Pyramid, downtown in Memphis, Tennessee. So I think most of the speakers that you'll probably see throughout the course of this class are going to be people that are maybe a little bit further along in their career, general managers and presidents of companies, folks that can really tell you a lot about their experience. And the reason that Mr. Owen brings me in is because I'm just getting started, right? So I'm not too far out of college myself, and I can give you kind of my perspective on what it's like to be a young person that's getting started in the hospitality industry. So first, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in New York, moved to the South when I was still pretty young, grew up in Tennessee, and came to Memphis right before I finished high school. Throughout high school and college, I thought entertainment was the way I wanted to go, so when I was here at the University of Memphis, I was not studying hospitality, but theater and jazz. MC for a couple of sports teams while I was here. Had a radio show over at WUMR, your jazz station here on campus, and had no idea that I was ever going to end up working in hotels. Now, the whole time I was in college, I also kept some work going, worked for Banana Republic for a while, spent everything I made right back in that store. We had a little bit of work with Sun Studio. That was kind of my first foot in the door with the tourism industry, right? So that was just a weekend job for me. I got to hang out, make milkshakes, hear about music. I was really into music. But that was my first introduction with the tourism industry because that was such a hub of activity for people that were visiting Memphis. You got to go see Sun Studio. It's easily one of the top 4 or 5 attractions in the city of Memphis for somebody that's never been here before. So I really liked the atmosphere of getting to welcome people into Memphis and being so close to why people wanted to visit the city. After college, I went to teach ballroom dance for a while, and I was looking for another change of scenery after that. I was in the right place at the right time to meet an individual who worked at the Peabody Hotel. So I ended up applying for a position called concierge. Now, for those of you that don't know, concierge is one of the front of house positions in a hotel. That's where you've got, basically you get to program the activities for a guest once they check in. So once the front desk is through with them, they come to concierge and they say, hey, I got 2 days in Memphis, what do I do? And you get to fill in all the time for them. Now, not only are you planning things like their dinners and their activities while you're talking to them about their stay, you find out a little bit about them, get to know why they're in the city. You can also assist them with any needs that they have from other departments. Often, the concierge in a full-service hotel is going to be the person that you're going to look to if you need something delivered to the room, if you need to set up maybe something special arranged for somebody staying with you. Maybe something's not going right and you need somebody to complain to. Well, that concierge is definitely a central role that's really plugged into a lot of different departments in the hotel. So I was attracted to that position because I, as a young person, really wanted to be part of the social scene in Memphis, right? I was thinking, oh wow, I'll really get to get plugged in with the restaurants and what's going on downtown. And that was exactly right. That was a wonderful, wonderful position to do it. What I quickly learned, though, was that position let me get to know the other departments in the hotel, at least on a kind of surface level. So I got to communicate with engineering, got to communicate with housekeeping, got to work with our food and beverage department. It was really just such a central part of what was going on in the hotel. So that was what got me in the door with the hospitality industry officially, and I've been there ever since. So at a property like the Peabody, I was very fortunate to have an opportunity to take on a bit more responsibility. So I was there for, all in all, about just shy of 6 years. After 6 months with the concierge department, I had the opportunity to step into a very fun role called VIP specialist. Not every hotel has one of those. The Peabody was one of those properties that we had enough clients coming in that would have been maybe people of note, celebrities, politicians, folks that needed a little extra hand-holding during their stay. The VIP specialist worked very much as a specialized concierge, kind of focusing on those individuals. So in that position, I was still doing about everything else that I did as a concierge, but now I'm reaching out to the guest before they even arrive. I'm finding out a little bit about why they're coming, what they like, what they don't like, what they need while they're here, and trying to set all of those things up in advance. So then when they get here, their stay is just a nice seamless experience. So once I get a little bit of information about what they like, I might kind of custom tailor an amenity for them, like, oh, they have their favorite bottle of wine, or they have a sweet tooth, so we got to send something from the pastry kitchen. They really want a picture of their dog next to the bed to make them feel at home. I mean, fun stuff like that. Then once they get here, we've already got their room pre-registered, pre-keyed. After housekeeping's inspected, I go up and take another look at it and just make sure everything is spick and span, looking good. Then I meet the guest at the door, already have their keys, everything's ready to go front desk-wise, and we can just escort them straight on up to the room, so they don't have to kind of hang around, and especially for somebody that you might recognize from TV. They don't want to hang around in the lobby and kind of get badgered, right? So having a quick escort up to the room is a big deal for them. Then once that person gets settled in, you're their point of contact for the rest of the stay. So if something goes wrong, they're going to call you, right? They're going to pick up the phone and say, hey Graham, the AC's out in my room. Well, usually they call engineering, concierge, front desk, something like that, but now you've got to step into that central role again and be the person that takes care of whatever the problem is. So I served in that position for about 1.5 years. Had a lot of fun, got to be really creative, and fortunately was given creative liberty with amenities and with some of the things that we did for our VIPs, and got to see some cool experiences curated for guests that came through our doors in that department. Now after that, I moved a little more centrally back to the concierge position as concierge supervisor. We had a concierge supervisor and a VIP specialist who operated as two different positions that kind of backed each other up. The concierge supervisor would kind of cover my off days. I knew what was going on with the concierge supervisor, so after having been a part of the team there for so long, I thought, well, I can put that together. I think I can pace my day where I can fill the duties of the VIP specialist, and I can also lead the concierge staff. And so I was able to take that opportunity. My directors at the time thought I could handle it. They were kind enough to give me the chance to fail, and it worked out all right. So for about another 1.5 years after that, I served as a concierge supervisor while still kind of handling the VIP department. So with concierge supervisor, again, you're working as a concierge. I mean, filling in on the desk when needed, but also kind of handling things like scheduling, payroll, making sure hours were being tracked accurately. Then with our concierge team, we had a little bit of food and beverage service too. So that was a bit of an introduction for food and beverage for me on our club floor. We had a complimentary glass of wine when you checked in. We also had a bar available for service, and we had some light food service up on the club floor. So with the concierge supervisor role, I got to get introduced to par levels and making sure that we had an inventory stocked to maintain our operation, food and beverage up there on the club floor. So that was a nice kind of foot in the door for food and beverage. It also let me know without a doubt food and beverage is not where I want to end up. That's just not my calling. There's plenty of opportunities in food and beverage, and if that's for you, I wish you the best, because that's just not what I'm cut out for. But I'm glad that I got to have a little bit of exposure to it. So after that, I was looking to kind of grow a little bit and take on some more responsibility, and I had the opportunity to move to a management position as the evening manager for the hotel. So the way it worked at that particular property, I was one of a team of front desk managers. We all shared responsibilities overseeing the front desk and making sure payroll was taken care of, upsell incentives at the front desk for upgrades were being driven. But in addition to that, we also served as manager on duty for the property. With that kind of property, there's a lot going on, especially at night. Right? It's the living room of Memphis. So you've got anybody and everybody that's visiting the city at least walking through to see what happens twice a day at the Peabody.
Ducks.
Ducks, yes, absolutely. Yep, people come in to see the ducks. So with all that going on, creates a lot of guest interactions, and from that, sometimes there's situations where they need a little backup in various departments. So served as manager on duty for the property. Basically, that means I'm just kind of checking in with every department, making sure they've got the tools to do their job and to serve our guests, and really hoping that nobody pulls a fire alarm. With the manager on duty position, I got exposed to even more variety. So now with concierge, I kind of got plugged in a little bit with other departments, but with manager on duty, Well, now instead of just calling housekeeping, well, I might actually go up and help them strip a room if they're kind of running behind. Or in the restaurant, I might step in and bus tables if they need a little extra help over there. In an engineering situation, engineering kind of takes care of themselves, but I might step in an emergency situation and guide the proper paramedic or fire department teams to where they're going. And also working closely with our security team to make sure that the peace is being kept on the property too. With so many moving parts and so many people coming in off the street, with our centrally located hotel, our collaboration with security was really important too. Because at any given time we could have guests off the street that might be causing a ruckus for some reason. So that was a lot of fun too. As far as the front desk management portion of it, like I said, I kind of shared responsibilities there, and I was glad that we got to rotate too, because you might have somebody that's really good at tracking payroll, but they're not really pushing sales with upgrading room types. So we got to kind of find our strong suits. You might have someone else that's really good with revenue. They might be good with kind of fixing guest billing issues, because any given time somebody would call with a billing problem. Well, they might get transferred to the MOD, who's got to get in there and figure out what's wrong with the billing issue. Or if somebody from the lobby bar, for example, needs help closing a ticket, they might come to you and say, hey, I can't post to this guest room. Why is that? Like Ivy in the back there did so many times. For those of you that don't know, you've got one of my former coworkers sitting in your back there. That's all I'm going to pick on you though. But you might have somebody from the food and beverage area that's coming over and they need help closing out one of your tabs there too.